Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to Darkest Dungeon. So the circus came to town, so there would be a decent reason to do the butcher circus right now, but we're still really in the tutorial section, and I already opted to put the two characters that I could spare in the Abbey to release stress. But obviously stress is going to be a thing we really just have to manage like crazy. Now, as far as this trinket inventory, I assume I can just hold on to it and it's not going to take up your regular inventory when you embark in the next location. If it did take up the regular inventory, well then that would mean you'd have to either equip or sell all items almost instantaneously as soon as you get them. The strange glow at the farmstead, the comet's impact was felt here in the hamlet. The great impact toppled gravestones and kicked up a cloud of dust that has covered the entire region. When it finally settled, an eerie miasma was seen to spread from the mill. It's distorted the rules of time and space, far beyond imagining. Venture in the miller's farm to see what's been done. And see, they're just unlocking the DLC because you paid for the DLC and you deserve to be able to play it as soon as possible. Also, that allows people who are playing this game for a second time with a new save file to immediately jump into the DLC after the first couple tutorial missions. But it still very much feels like the smart move would be to focus in on just the ruins and do ruins 1, 2, 3, 4, although I'm not sure these are really numbered as much as these are just random icons. Although, seems like the game itself has decided to send us this direction. So let's just go that direction. We need to figure out where the best position is for this character, which I guess is here. And well, these positions are just awful. Alright, do any of my characters like being in the back? So either I put the gun guy in the back and reduce his speed, or I put this guy in the back. I guess we'll put him in the back. And then this one really wants to be in the front, so let's see if we could just bump everything else backwards. And I assume positioning here matters. I wonder if this kleptomania is an indicator of him stealing items from the group, or he's stealing items from the bad guys. Because that would be a very different outcome if he's just stealing items and you're adding them to your collection from the bad guys. So, yeah, I said in the first episode that this is going to be a very different experience compared to people who played this while it was in early access and getting tweaks all the time and adjustments. And that different experience, I think, does expand to the Light in the Sky section here. It may very well be a case that we are going to do a tutorial level for each of these sections, and then we'll be left on our own to decide where we want to go after that. Alright, we have medicinal orbs and holy water. Okay. So, interestingly here, we don't have any torches. 1, 2, 3, 4. You might as well just have like 6. But I'm assuming that there's a stack limitation. 1, 2, 3 of those. Should I take laudanum? Probably, if we're not going to be able to use food or torches, unless in this run you don't use food or torches at all. So we'll take all the laudanum we can hold. Holy water really is only worth about 15, but you pay 150, so you're only getting about 10% back. Cleanse items. See, I just don't know if you really need an anti-venom. Like, because we just don't know what we're going up against. Let's take that. And see, anything I take now is really just going to increase what I already have, as long as it doesn't go too crazy, so the number of spots or slots used up. There we go. Like, just not knowing what to go, what's going to happen, that's probably the right move.
Blight had struck the harvest again that year, and the miller was desperate.
This almost feels like this might be a Halloween-y type level, but the whole game is kind of Halloween-y and spooky.
Seated comfortably
Not so much really Halloween with pumpkins, though.
And other delicate apparatus, I recognized his misfortune as an opportunity, and I agreed to lend him my expertise.
It definitely feels more like this is a case of seeing Cthulhu cultists in the game than a skeleton with a pumpkin on his head. Seems safe. Okay. Celestial Cornerstone. This Celestial Cornerstone is carefully constructed around the barrier. Okay, so if anything was going to work on this, I'd say it would probably be holy water. This item had no effect, and then we used the item at that. Breach the barrier. Okay, so we breached the barrier, and now we can go onward. And yeah, no torches at all as a concept. Let's try this against this guy. They don't seem to be super strong. Heal 5 early, or remove 7 stress and heal 3. Change into mode beast. Okay, so he changes into a beast, which then adds a ridiculous amount of stress. And his transformation seems to not actually allow me to attack anything, so I would have to move to try to attack. Suffice it to say, the abomination probably is not the best thing to use. Okay. Trying to figure out what the best attack is, which seems to me like the best attack is almost certainly further on the left for just a basic attack. And if you're looking for anything else, it's going to be further to the right. You have a large range as far as stress, but having an abomination join your group and increase stress doesn't really feel like that's a good idea. This would reduce stress by 2 by getting rid of it. So maybe the character's just in the wrong position. Okay. Range shot. Still trying to get the guy in the back. What it feels like kind of needs to happen here is, yes, we need some kind of counterattack ability, but it feels like these fights need to become a little bit more important. It just doesn't make the most amount of sense that you would go through 10 or 20 of these fights in a single run. I really should get rid of something. Pass the turn or move. So obviously it's better to move, because passing the turn gives you stress. The shotgun shots is not helpful. And yeah, you would almost certainly have already won if they just had any kind of counterattack or defense. Now they're healing themselves.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Monster waves and respawning. Defeated foes will swiftly be replaced by waves of despicable reinforcements. Your party must endure the onslaught without pause for hope of respite. Because of the strange nature of the time's behavior in the farmstead, you can retreat with no penalty at any time. All farmstead quests have a kill meter, the measure of your might and ambition. Fill it by defeating monsters, and when your tally hits certain thresholds, you will receive a reward of crystal shards. These rewards increase the further you venture. Back in the hamlet, the jeweler seeks the strange glowing shards. He'll trade you for unspeakable artifacts of power. Find him in the no man's wagon. So this is just a gauntlet mode that we're just trying to fill up this meter. And we already had a situation where it felt like there wasn't a very fast fight going on, and I don't know if we ever are going to move to a second fight or if it's just going to be replaced. Curing Blight. Your hero is blighted. If you wish, you can use anti-venom from the inventory to neutralize it. Okay. So this guy Dragging and dropping doesn't work. So that crystal, maybe it would benefit us to start attacking the crystal. Let's see what happens when we hit the crystal.
Cleansed from our lands.
Well, that seems to have gotten rid of the gravestone, or the crystal, which I assume that was the right move, and not a wrong move. The stress is just going up and up and up, though. So, do they start going crazy at 100 and die at 200, or do they start going crazy at 200 and die at 100? That's a good question to ask. Now we've got a new guy. So I wonder if this abomination is causing stress to be added each turn, or just every time we see that, or every time we see them say something. Let's go ahead and experiment with this and see what happens if we turn back into human. That really reduces 2 stress. And then, yeah, we can attack now that we're in a better position. Certainly. So I didn't need him really to absolutely be in that role. I do need to find the guys with the healing abilities, though. This guy just has no accuracy at all. And if the accuracy numbers are not improved by just getting random different characters, then I need to figure out something else. Like, arguably I should be buffing somebody. Marked and buffed. I don't know what marked means, but I would assume that they're gonna try and target my guy more now. I could look in that long galaxy. Is this guy bleeding? For RDS, what's RDS? Well, noticeably he doesn't want that, so let's see if that worked. Apparently it didn't.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Yeah, we're not killing people particularly fast, so obviously it's not going very fast.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Alright.
Their formation is broken.
I guess it just by default does focus on let's see, Bulwark of Faith we can't use, so if we move this character, we're just moving that character. So yeah, it just picks the leftmost thing you can do.
Masterfully executed.
When you just to start. So you can do anything you want. And this guy could heal himself, but he'd be better off
Begone,
breaking
fiend.
that. I think this probably highlights a issue with playing Darkest Dungeon. Much like Binding of Isaac or FTL, in that these games can be very, very long, and should just attack that. His attack is so bad. Alright. I don't think we make it here. I think we lose our guy. This guy has a stress of 66. All these guys are at 0.25% of stress. Let's flee. It just doesn't seem like I would be a good enough player to escape. So how do we escape? Escape empty-handed. Now, yeah, I think that probably is the right move, and just save our resources, because otherwise this guy is dead and then we lose a character, which maybe we're not really paying gold for characters, and maybe having a character die would potentially benefit us some other way, but that sure doesn't feel like that's the right move for a video game. There's no magic attack here that would kill more of these characters.
Great adversity has a beauty.
I get an achievement for doing that. And then apparently we're getting gold back for the things we didn't use, but the gold we're getting back seems to be significantly lower than what we spent. And it seems like none of them got any XP for that. So that was just a complete waste of 20 minutes.
All my life I could feel an insistent gnawing in the back of my mind. It was a yearning, a thirst for discovery that could be neither numbed nor sated.
Now remember, I'm playing this on easiest mode possible, so that probably should have been an easy thing to walk through, and it wasn't. And inherently, I do think that's probably the problem with a lot of the DLC in Darkest Dungeon, is that it is more content for people who were playing Darkest Dungeon for hundreds of hours in early access. It's not new content to make the first few hours of gameplay better. Okay. So we now have a guild.
Make no mistake, we will face ever greater threats. Our soldiers must be ready.
Drag a hero from the roster here to possibly upgrade things. I don't have enough resources to upgrade anything in the guild.
The bellows blast once again.
And
the forge stands ready to make weapons of war.
Drag something here to possibly upgrade, I guess. There. Weapons, armors. Or reduce the cost of weapons and armors upgrades. Okay. Let's go check out the Abbey. this guy's... Like, can we bring him up? We have one character praying. And we have... nothing we can really upgrade here. Yeah, it looks like you can cancel the treatment. Should we cancel the treatment? Or should we just assume that that's reduced the stress? I think we have to cancel the treatment on at least this character. No, I guess not. Guess that's not what you want to do. Well, that went very poorly as far as the items I bought to take with me. So I definitely am going to need to have a smaller amount of items starting and just play more frugally. Here we can see all the things that we potentially could have purchased with crystals. Giving you stronger weapons if you can make it through there. Well, we now have very, very stressed things. They said that if we do the Butcher's Circus, we'll reduce stress. So let's do the Butcher's Circus.
Bacchanal. A debauched contest of survival. The Butcher's Circus is all these things and more.
And we already know that the circus is multiplayer. It'll be interesting to see, however, though, if anybody's actually playing it. Okay. So, let's just start on the left, and then, well, ranking boards.
This list, blood and courage are the only means to ascension.
So our current rank is Novice 3, we'd want to potentially go up. Challenge history. Prize box.
Claim your spoils. They are hard earned, and the previous owner will not miss them.
While you're fighting in the circus, your own prestige. As your prestige grows, the ringmaster will grant you use of some additional trinkets and new pieces for your banner. All of this really does just feel like stuff that I don't know if I really care about any of it. There's 75 prestige levels here. Like, if you really love this game and wanted to keep playing, that makes sense, certainly, but it's also interesting how holding down jumped straight to 75. Or maybe I missed the arrows and just dragged it. But on the other hand, you also run into the problem of there being potentially nobody playing now, years later. And here we have a nagging option in which you could nag your friends to send an invitation, as far as some random people who have friended me on Steam, none of which are online at the moment. And so there might be some kind of like achievement for sending out a challenge and nagging your friends, which arguably your friends may never see, and even if they did see, they probably wouldn't jump into it. Let's see if there's any multiplayer options.
The assemblage of your contestants. Victory and defeat can be decided here.
See, I don't understand how playing the circus reduces the stress of your characters in the Hamlet if you're playing with completely different heroes in the circus, which is what this is saying. Different skills and effects suited for the unique rules of the ring, and they will not disappear from your roster if killed. So that almost seems like a nicer setup. And you do have a nice collection of characters here, just to see all the different character classes in the game. Let's see. Well, let's not play with people that we've already played with. So let's start with this. And then, yeah, you just seem to have quite a lot of items. What kind of character is this? I'd say it was a barbarian character. And I guess we'll just start with that and drag that and drag that. Does that make the most sense? Probably not. Does this even have healing skills? No. Oh, this is gonna get so annoying so fast. I can already tell. This is just gonna be find something with a healing ability. Otherwise, just drag nonsense items that I got through buying DLC. Does this one have healing? Yes. Just pick something, I think, and just be done with it. Just make sure we have somebody equipped. What does this do? That's your leagues. That's your trinket inventory with your prestige. I kind of assume that this is not
thrills to the spilling of blood.
well, I guess it would have to be real-time gameplay, wouldn't it? So we're just waiting for somebody else to zoom in. And they start with a coin flip to make it fair.
The contest begins.
Almost certainly I have no chance of winning here. Almost certainly anybody else has played this a lot more than a newbie like me, and they know what they're doing just from playing the main game or from playing the multiplayer also. Unlike a single player campaign, you can choose the order in which your heroes act each round at the ring. On your turn, click and hold the hero to activate them, then the heroes are activated. You won't be able to change their selection. You can click a hero to inspect them before deciding which to activate. Okay, good to know. Let's see, does this one have anything they can do? This guy should move back. But let's start with that. You and your opponents will take turns activating heroes. Each hero may only act once per round. This almost certainly is a tutorial mode and not a real person. The mark on the right of the hero's health bar indicates the hero has not acted yet this round. New round begins when all heroes have activated, so the little yellow mark indicates that. Hound's Rush on this character. They're just dodging things like crazy.
Unbalanced.
The heat of the battle. In the ring, you have limited time to act. This is represented by the torch at the top of the screen, so the torch means something completely different in multiplayer. If it burns out, you'll pass your turn and lose any actions. This will happen in a real match, but for the tutorial, the timer is paused. All of these are totally in the wrong place. Like selecting this character, I think was done automatically. Yeah, it definitely seems like it's very easy to just have characters in the wrong place, and that becoming such a big issue that you take several turns to potentially try and fix that issue. Several turns you really don't have to spare. I'd also say the background voices in this arena mode is a little disconcerting. It's not something that I particularly appreciate as far as just annoying chatter. What's gonna suck here is none of this is going to work. Like, I'm gonna manage to lose in the first tutorial unless the game just decides to start having the characters dodge, dodge, and dodge. Right. Actually, this one seems to have quite a bit of heal, and I can't help but assume that that's because of the increased abilities. Let's go. Attack here.
A devastating blow.
Houndmaster is at death's door. Damage mod 100%, damage mod 80%. Can't do Hound's Rush because it's a ranged thing. But these are ranged things too, so I don't know. Again, these battles feel like they're going fairly slowly. And this guy's stunned, so I just can't do anything with him. So, heal myself. If I'd done a much better job about carrying and putting the right elements on the right characters, this probably would have been a much better team. But at a certain point, there is also, I guess, a question as far as whether there are better teams or worse teams. This guy who's at death's door does not seem like he's going to allow me to get away from being at death's door. So let's just get rid of this guy and try and figure out why he's not dying. Or do we have to bring them all to death's door?
As life ebbs, terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
So he healed himself. So is there just something about their trinkets or such that keep them from dying? Like, I really don't know how to win here at this rate. Like, I don't think my characters are gonna get at death's door and then be done. Death's door, not death's door, not death's door. You really would want a bleed effect to do more damage than this.
Perched at the very precipice of oblivion.
Right, so that one is also at death's door. See, if this was a specific number of turns, then this would make more sense.
A hand's breadth from becoming unwound.
Or maybe it's a case where at death's door means you just have to attack him twice. So let's just try that. Like, it may just be you cannot get a fatal kill. Right.
Masterfully executed.
Yeah, death's door once again. Not killing that guy. So am I supposed to just lose here? Or am I not understanding something?
As the fiend falls,
Finally!
hope blossoms.
We finally get a death blow. So there must be some level of death blow resistance that makes an appearance.
Vigor is restored.
So when something is at death's door, I should probably target it. Yeah, I kind of assume that that's really what you just have to do, is you just have to fight
And
these
now the true test.
people over and over
Hold
again.
fast or expire.
See, for a second there, that sounded like that might mean something, that line of dialogue you just said, but I don't think it really does. Alright. There still seems like there's a lot of people that have really low accuracy. I guess this worked before, so let's try it again. Nope, that wasn't. I don't think that was the thing. See, this guy's, I guess, is just slowly dissolving. All I can do is try and heal people. And you would totally have been screwed if you hadn't healed people to start with. Mark and debuff him, I guess, is not the worst move, but that's not really what I was thinking.
Diminished.
Teetering on the brink, facing the abyss.
Another death's door. And at a certain point here, the stress may just get so high that either my characters die or their characters die from insanity. Which maybe that is the general idea, is to, it's more of a focus around a darkest dungeon insanity system.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
So now he's become fearful, caught trapped. And he did that at 100. If we can click on this guy. Yeah, his stress hit 100. So you go completely insane at 200, which we're close to 100, but not anywhere close to 200. Let's see. This guy's already played this turn. But you would think at this point there would be a thought in which the team would just break up and flee. They've lost half of their team. I'm doing fairly well. This character is fearful. Like, wouldn't that give every indication that now is the time to give up and run? Yeah, and I definitely have a real concern here that you're just not going to get enough reward for spending all of this. And it seems to be just stuck at 10 as far as hit turns or heat of the battle. Let's see. It doesn't seem like you really have any choice other than to go with this. Yeah, you'd think 2 people or the entire team being at death's door would cause them to flee. And that there should just be some early ending. I guess it just was the 10th turn. Okay, well. Seemingly this character can just heal forever, and I think that probably is going to highlight that's going to highlight a problem. Yeah, because we spent like 40 minutes on this one fight. That seems ridiculous. And it definitely seems dangerous in that this may be exactly how the later runs in Darkest Dungeon go, although there is a slight possibility here that the later runs in Darkest Dungeon also aren't as big as you may seem. The dungeons may be fairly small, so we get an achievement for that. 4 people were killed. That got us from level 1. And we get some items. And next level would get us a level up towards a prestige, I guess. 5 to 6 prestige needed to go up to the next level. So it's just a level on top of a level. Where is the new stuff? Must have just been over here without an exclamation point on it. Yeah. That does not feel like anything, really. So now that we're back in the hamlet, the promises of going into the circus and reducing stress by 20 just doesn't feel like that really happened. Maybe that was a one-time thing that I passed on. Alright, well, I'm not going to end the recording here, but I am going to pause the recording here and take a break. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I guess the question would be, can we get a couple more characters? I mean, you might as well just take the abomination.
And reclusive. This man is more dangerous than he seems.
And then Reginald, I think, has to go into the tavern, but I don't think he can go in the tavern. So this guy will go into the brothel. Can we upgrade anything here before we do any of that? No. And so Reginald does seem like he is set up for death, as it were, unless we cancel the treatment on this character. And I think that's really where this is going to boil down to, is that we just are going to have to let somebody die. Like, I don't think that there's any other way this happens. Like, he can only pray for stress relief because he's God-fearing, whereas the abomination is not God-fearing, so he could go into the brothel. And it may just be a case that this doesn't refill consistently every week, or it could be a case that another week really hasn't passed because we escaped from the farmland, and I don't think the butcher circus counts as anything. So storyline wise, we're still at just like week 3. And yeah, I seriously doubt any of these people lost 20% of stress. Okay. So maybe it's less of a case that... Let's put this guy here. And then put this guy here. I probably need to check these characters as far as their positions. Preferred positions first 2, preferred position first, preferred position first 3, preferred position middle 2. Yeah, well, we'll leave it at that. That's probably good enough. It may just be that the farmstead was selected by default, just because it was on the left. And we really should be doing this. So we have a short skirmish we could do. We could scout. Or we could explore. Or we can cleanse. And 2 of these are medium and 2 of these are hard. So I think it may be that you just have kind of a random roll of this, of roguelike challenges, and we're just supposed to do them. I don't think I have an Oculus to play as. It does certainly have the feeling that there is a lot of right, that's probably good enough. I'm gonna get less food this time. Just, let's say 8. That sounds good. And we cannot afford anything else. We're just totally out of money. So we really need a success here in this run. So yeah, it may just be that there's a certain number of roguelike random missions that you're given each time. Maybe it re-rolls every week, so you can take your pick. And then once you've done enough clearing,
of your lineage once familiar. Now
you fight the boss, and then that's once you've cleansed an area and fought the boss, maybe you get a bit of a bonus there that would help you eventually get to the darkest dungeon. Or maybe it's just an area that's done and then you can grind on it a little bit more. Inherently, I would assume that if you were playing the hardcore mode that had a time limit, you wouldn't have enough time to cleanse out all the areas and then go back and do more. I really wouldn't be surprised if you can't do anything once you've cleansed out an area. See, we're getting pop-up hints for things we've already figured out, but the game didn't tell us that, so I assume that's probably a fine way to go. And I imagine there's just not that much in the background here to click on. Like, I do suspect that most of this is just boring background stuff.
Another one falls.
And this is speed. I guess the question is if we have any abilities that could reduce stress, because certainly a lot of these characters could benefit from reduced stress, but I don't think that there really is anything that does that. I would suspect that if there was something like that, it was fairly specific to a specific character that I don't have. But yeah, I'm fairly certain at some point in the DLC you do get to start to play as occultists, which is kind of playing as the bad guys. But I doubt you get to play as maggots or anything simplistic like that.
Be gone, fiend.
These maggots are really easy. So we really did jump from something fairly difficult to something fairly easy. Alright. Do we really need to heal anything at the moment? No. So we're just moving things back and forth just to avoid adding stress. Just giving them busy work. At a certain point, you'd almost think that moving backwards and forwards should add stress, so you can't cheat your way through that.
Back to the pit. These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
I wouldn't be surprised if these... since... So he's infected with ashes now. I don't know if I had a choice on that. You can just left click to light the torch more. Although I'm not sure that having the torch lit more really benefits you that much. Yeah, and we're gonna have to decide to go left or right at some point. And I guess I'll go up first. Then we'll wander around downward. So the map inside says there's a curio and a trap. Here it says there's a battle, a curio, and a battle. Well, that certainly helps us. Yeah, and until I can figure out a way to get torches to last longer. Disarming traps. Scouted traps will be visible on the ground as you approach them. Select a hero and then click on the trap to attempt to disarm it.
Mechanical hazards possessed by evil intent.
Now he's hopeless. Afflicted. When heroes can't take the stress anymore, they become afflicted. This manifests in different behaviors and stat changes. Afflictions last until you send them to treatment in the town, unless you can reduce their stress to 0 during the quest. Let's see. The light is fading. Current torch level greatly affects many mechanics. Yeah, our guy is probably just gonna go crazy and die. I wouldn't be surprised if 2 or 3 of these guys go crazy and die. Come on, I'm clicking on this. But apparently I needed to click on the actual torch. But yeah, I can't really help but feel like there should just be an option to auto use torches. Let's see. That would make a lot more sense to me.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
I feel like these dialogue stuff. Let's see. Well.
Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood.
Yeah. Your hope here is that there is just enough dialogue to keep the player playing. You can't re-interact with this. So we went downward when I said I was going to go upward. I don't know why I changed my mind there. And so now we have to walk all the way back when I was suspecting that it would
The light,
interconnect.
the promise of safety.
Right. Bypass stealth. See, seems like he has this new ability, maybe. But no. And healing right now is not even important. Let's just go and attack this guy until he's either stunned or killed. What's the accuracy on this? Yeah. It's not bad.
Another abomination, cleansed from our lands.
See, this is the guy who has the affliction at 100. And it almost seems like at 100 you stop getting random stress and something really, really has to stress you out to go further. And his attacks all seem the same. So yeah, I'm not feeling
Continue the onslaught.
like there's a big difference
Destroy
there.
them all. Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
The game is, I think, being realistic when it described itself as far as making the best of a bad situation. What's funny here is that I finally found a game that I could play in my live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and yet thematically I don't think I would play it instead of, right now I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel instead. The reason why I would say this is a better game than that is because it is turn-based and there's no real multiplayer element. So I could just play this and then do exactly what I'm doing right now. Take my hands off the mouse, talk for a while, and there seems to be no real penalty for that. The torch doesn't seem to go down until you start walking left or right. And so when I am live streaming and talking about video game news or looking at games that came out on Steam and all the, well, those are the two other things I do when I'm live streaming, this would work really nicely. Whereas, unfortunately, I still don't think I'd choose that. I don't think I'd really even stick with this game enough to really like it that much. I probably could have done this when it was still in early access and getting new content, but now that while it does have the Circus online component, I wouldn't really be interested in playing that, and I doubt that there would be any updates compared to something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel that's constantly getting updates. And really, I've been playing collectible card games instead. I said this was a card game, but actually there's no card element to this at all. Man, boy was I wrong about that. I must have just been thinking of a different Darkest Dungeon clone. Because, yeah, there is no card element to this.
Cruel machinations spring to life with a singular purpose.
A body's limit heart attack. Stress continues to build beyond the point of affliction. If the hero's stress ball fills a second time completely, the body will give out. Give them aid or retreat back to town. Before this happens, death awaits us all. So this guy is now up to 122 stress.
Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
So yeah, if I found a Darkest Dungeon clone that was a little bit more colorful and not so just darkest and dungeony, like I could see playing something like that. Yeah, but I don't know if I can think of anything like that, and there still would be an issue of, is it going to be even slightly popular, or something that people are still playing, or that's getting updated, because that all needs to be considered at least. Just go ahead and focus on the female cultist character. And so I assume that this human is considered unholy, but maybe not. And I kind of assume that the game changes based on having these occultists in the game. Whereas if I turn that DLC off, I may run into more skeletons and just highwaymen.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
This guy's stress is just going up and up. If I'm lucky, I will be out of here before he's completely gone. And it definitely feels like there's many characters that cannot attack the back row, but there's many characters in the back row that can also just not really attack very well. They either have a much lower accuracy or some other mechanic that makes them,
as the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms,
less likely to be able to hit you or do less damage. Alright. Alright, heal. Stress -7. Oh, actually this, I could have been using this whole time, couldn't I? But he can only use it on himself, can he? Darn it. Well, could reduce my own stress, but I don't think that's really worth it. It doesn't seem realistic that you would be able to have each character heal themselves or reduce their own stress unless they just have way better items, and certainly at a certain point we may just get default characters like this Crusader from the main menu and then have to send them to the blacksmith to upgrade their attacks and weapons. So he just moved. I think specifically out of fear.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Okay. Let's go ahead and just heal this guy and reduce his own stress. Go ahead and shoot this guy. Like, I really don't think he can do much back there. And yeah, we'll just attack the corpse, move him forward. I guess that is just how this goes, is that you do have to get rid of the corpses at the end.
Remind
So
yourself
shovel.
that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
A bleed stone, why would you want that? A crest and 500 gold. Stashed heirlooms. I feel like there are probably mods, like I vaguely recall that there were mods that would automatically get rid of corpses, or just not have corpses in the game at all. And there's probably a mod that auto triggers the torches. That would all make a little bit of sense. These little creatures are very different fights. So it does definitely give a feeling that they're trying to give you fast fights to move through alongside slow fights. You know, I may have been confusing this game with Hand of Fate, but even Hand of Fate plays way different and looks way different than this, so I don't think I would have confused this game with Hand of Fate. Just continuously heal that guy and reduce his stress, so we'll have at least one character that's not
Ghoulish horrors,
horribly
brought low
overstressed.
and driven into the mud.
In a funny way, I suppose this is almost like a boss simulator game, even though it has the visuals of a Darkest Dungeon. Like, what is a good boss if not somebody who should be trying to reduce and manage the stress levels of characters or your employees? This guy is about to die if I can't heal him. Which I don't think I can heal him. So we'll do that. This guy's in the wrong area, and it doesn't benefit really to have him there.
Teetering on the brink, facing the abyss.
Well, at death's door, when a hero is reduced to 0 HP, they're at death's door. While in this state, they will suffer stat penalties, plus any further damage has a chance to kill them, heal them to get off of death's door. Purge evil and restore purity can also be applied to increase resistance. Do we have no medicinal orbs? Yes, we do, but seemingly bandages are not good enough. Medicinal herbs are not good enough. It seems like food would have been the only thing. Alright. So I guess this is where the death door system starts to make sense. Is that there's no guarantees of death where you would otherwise just have expected that. I guess this could have been restoring my torch. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's not really worth your effort to restore your torch in the middle of the fight, though. When you could instead kill somebody.
More dust, more ashes.
And there is our first achievement. Discretion is the better part of valor. First of many heroes has given their all in service of you. You have the option of retreating from combat and abandoning this quest to save the other characters or pressing onward. The choice is yours. If this is the tutorial, retreat is unavailable. Wow, so they're even admitting that in the tutorial you could have lost. Alright. So everybody should be moved up now, which should mean that...
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Well, we want to go further enough to go to this and use this. And that unlocked a hidden compartment.
For a task well performed.
And then the question is, do we want to go and see the final battle? I think we do. Like, we could flee with 3 of us. But let's press forward. Winning with 3 people is probably a lot harder than it seems. And apparently I'm out of torchlight. Pack has a map inside. Room with a battle with Curio. Okay. Let's see. Deeds wouldn't make sense. Portraits wouldn't make sense. I don't know what item you would really use here, unless it was a shovel. So yeah, plus stress, monster attack, hero surprise, plus loot, player crits. Yeah, and we can see that there's a curio here, which would probably be an item. Do I think I could win with this? You have 8, 15, 13 as far as their HP. Let's try. Like, these guys do seem... Either they're lying to me about their health, or they seem to be kind of pushover characters. Unless they just summon other characters after these four. Unless these guys start to do something else. This guy's about to go become really stressed, but we already lost one guy due to stress, so we don't have to worry about the stress now so much. Yeah, it feels like the game is trying to help us by giving us characters with very little, like, very little attack health. Okay. Do we have the guy that would increase the torch? Yeah, we do, so... The real problem now is we need to destroy a corpse so we can actually target this lady who's in this back area. So now he's afflicted with selfishness.
Is paramount at any cost.
Alright, that stuns her, which probably means now I just need to click on her a couple times. And we'll win. And that gives us a little bit more gold and food.
Push on to the task's end.
And we don't have any more keys. So unless this did something, which it didn't. Some more hidden treasure. Right, and there's nothing more to do.
The great ruins belong to us.
And so that gave me 2 more achievements.
Whatever secrets they hold.
Just massive amounts of heirlooms being collected to upgrade things, but at some point I have to suspect that these heirlooms won't have as much value as it seems, because they probably, once we've upgraded everything, will just be useless, and then we'll just get more gold or treasures that we could sell. The idea of having 4 different currencies is still pretty crazy. So this guy levels up with 2 resolve. This one gains a fear of the eldritch and is gifted. This one has deviant tastes and deadly. This guy is hopeless. This guy was selfish.
She has paid dearly for her freedom and deserves better than this place.
And it really does seem like they've just scripted this so that every week there will be another DLC character that gets added. So the desert wind, a sandstorm of rumors and half-truths swirl around the newcomer. I assume that this is a DLC character and not just a new new character, and that we're just gonna get new character announcements. Looking over here, Grand Court was distracted, quote unquote, and misplaced the trinket disease charm. Is Grand Court the one who has the kleptomania? No. This guy engaged in flagellation and recovered 81 stress. And then this girl found meditation to be a perfect fit. New Quirk meditator. Abby Plucknet meditated and recovered 45 stress. Yeah, that says it's a town event. And the sanitarium is now unlocked. Okay. So let's just start by saying, yeah, we totally need...
Shifting, swaying. She mesmerizes her prey before the final strike.
Need as many characters as we can get.
Where others will not go.
These don't seem like they're...
what others will not see.
They really don't seem like they cost anything. But it does seem like I only have room for 13. So... immediately upgrading this is probably a smart move. And so now we can have 17 heroes. And yeah. At some point we'll have somewhere around, I suspect, 25 to 50 heroes. And then if we can get instructor, weaponsmith, and armor smithing all upgraded, then we'll get a bonus in the stagecoach element. Right. So as the Abbey happens here, this, let's see, this one is probably the right move, but he can't do that one. Can this guy do this one? Yes. We're gonna use up all of our gold. Okay. Let's check out the sanitarium. Sanitarium is most often used to remove negative quirks and treat diseases, but you can also use it to reinforce a positive quirk, which will lock it into place and prevent new positive quirks from displacing it. You can lock a maximum of 3 positive quirks per hero. So there is yet another whole system here. But I'm not really sure how you would lock in a positive quirk. Seems like that might just be kind of random, but it noticeably doesn't seem to be getting rid of stress. So, on that thought, where will this guy go? You'll only pray for stress relief. Also kleptomania. So he would only pray to a higher power for stress relief. That's his only option. Nobody else really has that much stress that it would be that useful to have them remove things. This guy I don't think is worth the money to try and lock in a positive quirk. So let's go over
In
here.
time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
But nothing new there. Nothing we can afford here. So unless we can start to reduce the trinket cost, seems like the only way we're going to get trinkets for a long period is through finding the trinkets. Survivals is still locked, but everything else in this area seems to be unlocked. Let's see. So, who do we potentially want to get rid of? Probably this guy. Instruction Master 1, I assume, is probably something we'll have to upgrade before we can do anything. Yeah. It doesn't seem like you can upgrade anything else otherwise. No, we can't upgrade this. And spend money. I guess the question would just become, is it worth it to spend and upgrade specific characters when you just don't know who those characters are? Divine Comfort heals the party. This can only have 4 active combat skills at a time. Toggle the skills on and off on the change the loadout, and watch how it changes that the hero's positional strength in the display above. Right. Having the ability to attack versus judgment. No, this I think does fine. And since we've already spent some money on this, I think it's probably okay to just stick with that. Torch +6. So I spent 2,000 on this character, and then we just need to make sure we equip these. The whole camping skills is still a question, because we have not found a place to camp at all. We still haven't found anything that can use these items. If people can lose items, that sucks too. Alright. So we toggle that and turn that on, and then we toggle that and turn that on. We can't do anything more, so if we were going to come over here and then try and equip better armor, I think we'd have to probably upgrade something. And weirdly, it does seem like we have enough resources to upgrade something with the portraits and the bust, but I don't know what the thing is, and so it may just benefit us to look at every single menu. It may be that these default weapons don't have a way of being upgraded, and that you have to actually have found better weapons. So unlocking the blacksmith may have not really done anything for you. Stagecoach requires shields. Blacksmith requires shields. Guild requires shields. Can't go into that one. Tavern requires shields. So shields might be the currency you need no matter what. Abbey requires shields. Sanitarium requires shields. This also requires shields. The graveyard as a character, we can see them and see their stats, but I don't think we can do anything. Can't strip their body of the weapons. Maybe if they weren't default weapons, that would be a possibility. Yeah, and this graveyard is just going to get filled up almost certainly, and the Ancestor's memories don't level up. So I have no idea what busts are for and portraits are for, but fairly obviously, if you're going to do anything, you're going to need shields first. So is there a possibility where you could take 2 of those and turn them into 3 shields? Yes. And that may just be the translation here. 1 portrait is worth 3 shields. Okay. Let's go with 15 of those. And let's think about what we could upgrade with 1 upgrade. Just toggle that off. Now, I bet what I just did though only works somewhat, because now that we have shields, we very possibly have gotten rid of portraits that were needed for some buildings upgrades. Alright. Skills to be upgraded to rank 2. Reduces the cost of training.
Every creature has a weakness. The wise hero trains for what she will face.
Let's see.
All
If we
manner of
upgrade the
diversion and
brothel
dalliance
now,
await those who cross the
that
threshold
may
with
help
coin
us.
in hand.
When we get this caretaker guy back. Wait, no, that's just the caretaker. So the caretaker is just a random character that takes up spots sometimes.
A man in a robe, claiming communion with the divine. Madness.
Hmm. Eight shields. It's probably worth it. Let's see. Noticeably though, it doesn't really feel like we're getting weapons from that.
An increasing
yeah.
stockpile of curious trinkets, gathered from forbidden places.
Would that reduce the price of this? Maybe, maybe not. In most of these games, though, I would say that you have a tendency to suffer the least by reducing the cost. And so I would think reducing the cost of training people probably is the best thing you could do in the short run. And if you can't afford to reduce the cost of training people, then you should reduce the cost of trinkets. Which, can we get up to 17? If we turn all of that up, we can get to 15. Which that's probably a dumb move. But whatever.
Idol, amulet, or lucky charm. The simplest object can be a talisman against evil.
Yep. So I've made some decisions. And then I will just have to make more decisions when I embark. Let's see. It is just week 3, so every episode here is seemingly only going to like take an entire week. Let's see, I just don't know if I have anybody that I can equip anything with. I could take the plus 5% protection off of this guy, I guess, and put it on somebody else. Don't know who. Kind of need to get out from this image to figure that out. Does this guy actually attack? Or is he just some kind of weird debuffer? Yeah. More than likely this character is our new front character. What is this? You can dismiss a hero, you can rename a hero. Alright. Good to know. I could see, also try and put this guy in like the Abbey or the Tavern, but I don't have the money for it. This is still just a glossary, and this is still just the menu. Let's check the options here as far as gameplay. Darkest dungeon config. Yep. So quest warnings, embark warnings, deck-based stagecoach. What does that really mean? Ensure more long-term distribution of heroes in the stagecoach instead of just randomization, I guess. Gameplay settings as intended to be played. Turning this off allows you to toggle the gameplay features below. So, if you didn't want monsters to leave corpses, you don't even need a mod. You just toggle it. Combat death penalties, mortality, combat retreats can fail, standard enemy crits, town events are new, and then never again. Whether heroes have completed the darkest dungeon quest can re-enter the dungeon. Strict may not enter, permissive may enter but will be stressed out. So you can go back to quest, it seems like, in permissive mode. And what's this other stuff? Adjust how long the hero's ward balloons show up, and I guess they're calling that bark, which I could see turning that up if you actually wanted to read what they're saying. Party auto sort is on. Yeah, just more options probably from the DLC in the other section. Alright, well, that was another hour and 50 minutes or so. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.